My final video of 2023 will go through 16 games that you may have missed this year. It's not focused on any specific genre, and there is a lot in here from platformers to RPGs to horror games. Not all of them are spectacular, but that's beside the point. So without further delay, let's get to it in no ranking order. Atone Heart of the Elder Tree is one of the weirdest RPGs that I played this year, if I can even call it an RPG. It's based on Norse mythology and stars a young girl, Estra, who lost her father to a wicked spirit when she was younger. Half the gameplay is puzzle-based and involves everything from stepping on stones in the right order to sliding tile puzzles around. The combat system plays out like Guitar Hero, with you having to match beats that run down a digital highway. It's unique, I'll give it that, but it lacked flair as I tended to meander a lot. While it didn't thrill me, I saw the potential in a sequel at least. Bomb Rush Cyberfunk is a great name for starters, but if you couldn't tell already, it's the closest thing we've had to a Jet Set Radio sequel in decades. It is exactly that, for better or worse, although there are some twists. For example, you have a jetpack, you pretty much start with a skateboard, and get new equipment as the game goes on. Plus, the opening story is brutal. I don't want to spoil it because my jaw dropped after the tutorial, but yeah. It's a crazy sporty platformer with a few brawling mechanics too. I think it's funky, and it looks great as a Dreamcast reimagining in 2023. Was it fully for me? No, but I know it's going to hit hard with Jet Set Radio fans. Born of Bread is the latest indie RPG trying to pay homage to the Paper Mario series. Some explorers accidentally unleash demons from ruins, a bread boy gets born, and then he gets wrapped up in saving the kingdom from these demons. Also, your first friend is a little raccoon artist named Lint, who is adorable. Every attack from basics to specials has different meters that excel when timed right. Your party levels up together. This bread boy loaf can be deformed in dungeons for exploration opportunities like being flattened. It is truly Paper Mario if Mario was, made of bread. I think it's a competent RPG with silly characters and a great visual style. However, I prefer Super Mario RPG or even the Mario and Luigi series over Paper Mario games, which is unfortunate for Born of Bread. Paper Mario's gameplay just never clicked with me. Mini rant aside, Born of Bread is good if you love the Paper Mario series. I can recognize that at the very least. Brok the InvestiGator is a combination of a brawler and an adventure game, which sounded cool initially to me. After all, great detective movies of the classic noir era often showed characters rough up thugs for answers. So, a brawler made sense, and these sections of the game are fun. I also like the animation style, which is like a 90s Disney's afternoon cartoon, kind of specifically reminded me of Bonkers. Anyway, the downside is that I didn't like the adventure game stuff. I often found puzzles simple but obscure, making me have to go online to solve things, which then makes the combo system seem strange. Brawler fans may be put out if they don't like puzzles, and adventure game fans may be bothered by the combat. Finding a gamer in that happy middle may be tricky, and I wasn't one of those happy few. DC's Justice League Cosmic Chaos may look like a game made purely for kids, and sure, it is indeed, but like most LEGO games, adults like myself can get a lot out of it. In fact, I might even argue I got more out of it as an adult. Here's the premise. Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman have to stop Mr. Mixoplicatic Mick. They say it in the game, but I have no idea how to say it. But DC fans, you know exactly who I'm talking about. Anyway, he's causing mischief in a Baytown. That's all you need to know, other than it's cleverly written. Dana Snyder is the voice of Mr. Pickle, and who a lot may know as Master Shake from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I love his voice, it's very distinct. So I just imagine Batman fighting him being Master Shake, and I loved it. That was my fan canon. The combat is easy to understand, even though it is quite in-depth if you really dig into the RPG elements. do not let the kitty graphics dissuade you. This is a really good brawler RPG, plus it has co-op. Enclave HD. Now, I'm going to keep my time short with it because it was not a game I enjoyed from minute one. It's a remaster of the original, which came out in 2002. It may look like an Elder Scrolls game, but it's more of an action-adventure game with linear progression through levels rather than a massive open world. That would be fine if the game weren't glitchy and clunky with its controls. I often had to reset stages because button prompts would not appear. If you have nostalgia for this game, good. Great. Maybe I'm missing something, but this did not gel with me at all. Fatal Frame Mask of the Lunar Eclipse is a remaster of a 2008 Wii game that was only released in Japan. For a remaster, it looks great graphically, from the creepy environments you're exploring to the lighting to the character models. It's no Resident Evil 4 remake, of course, but I was impressed. What didn't impress me were the outdated gameplay designs. Your character, Ruka, moves incredibly slow even when running, which I say in quotes, running. Also, the vagueness of what can and can't be interacted with will lead to a lot of running around, wondering what you're doing wrong or where you're supposed to go. It's a shame because the idea of using cameras to fight ghosts is a cool idea, and I have loved entries of this series in the past. And indeed, a few times I did jump from scares. I just wish it were a more coherent experience, but patient horror fans may have a better time with it. Forgive Me, Father is a horror shooter with a unique comic-like style that reminded me of 13. There are dark, heavy lines, and enemies are made to look like 2D models. You can choose to be either a priest or journalist, and they both have quite the extensive skill tree. Shoot enemies, level up, you know the drill. It was something I was not expecting from this linear horror shooter. Also, I should mention that it's quite hard. It's not scary other than the difficulty, but that's fine. I had a good time regardless, although my biggest gripe has to be the long load times, which were bad even on my PS5. Lunark, to be clear right away, was a game that was not made for me. There is a fanbase out there that loves Flashback and other rotoscoped action-adventure platformers from the 90s. I could never get into them, but I thought maybe a modern one could be good and accessible. Nope. Movement has to be so precise, from jumping to lower yourself down cliffs. It's clunky and frustrating. I will at least admit that the game looks good, but, that's it. So, if you like Flashback and all those other rotoscope games, this is going to be your thing, probably. But most, like me, are probably going to bounce off Lunark. Marfusha is a simple tower defense game. You are trapped as a prisoner, forced to stop robot invasions from breaking through the city walls, painstakingly, after day. After each wave, you can get temporary and permanent upgrades to get stronger. You can also recruit other girls to fight alongside you, and they will appear in your dorm room. In this dorm room, you can do a few activities, even take a shower, which is presumably only there for anime fan service. I should mention this is technically an older game, 2021, but it just got ported to consoles in 2023. The year that we're in right now. It looks incredible, but I wish there was more to it, as it is a rather bare-bones experience. Mech Blaze feels like it was made for those who missed 2D mech games from the Super Nintendo era, like Cyberfunk, Metal Warriors, and if you were into the import scene, like me, Front Mission Gun Hazard. You can choose your main gun, sub-weapon at the start, and then proceed into a linear array of levels. Fight robots, get a high score, and then try to take down a massive boss before moving on. It's simple, both gameplay-wise and graphically, which is absolutely fine. There's also not much in the way of a story, so it's an arcadey retro experience for sure, but one I did enjoy dipping my toe into. Rooftop Renegade is a platformer on roller skates, wherein you have to outrun the law in a futuristic city. Yes, that does indeed sound like Bomb Rush Cyberfunk conceptually, but it's pretty different. It's 2D for starters, and there's not much of a story. It's a very arcadey setup wherein you try to get the best scores possible, which can help unlock new levels and upgrades for different pieces of gear. Graphically, it's fine, but there's no artistic flair to it. The same is true about the gameplay loop. It's okay, but nothing special. Kind of felt like it would play best as a phone game, which I don't mean as an insult. Shadow Gambit, The Cursed Crew, is a tactical stealth game. You begin as a dead pirate, Afia, who has to rescue her ship at the start along with a surviving her crew in an ongoing adventure. You can take a set amount of characters into battle and switch between them on the go. Each character has distinct abilities that will help make takedown enemies, like Afia can warp to kill enemies, and Sulady can sprout bushes which you can then use to hide in. You can also pause the game and have all characters take an action, and then execute those plans in real time. If timed right, you can take down 2 enemies at once, for example. Plus, there's a save ability that makes retrying setups a breeze, so don't get frustrated and save often because you can do it. Mechanically, I think it's set up very well for a stealth game, and I always love a good pirate adventure. This one was top tier. It surprised me a lot, and I'm sad I missed it like some of the others on here. Shotgun King, The Final Checkmate, is a hilarious concept for a roguelike / tactical game. The Black King is tired of being weak, so he rebels against the status quo, finds a shotgun, and then starts blasting the opposition. All pieces behave normally, and the game will notify you if you put yourself into checkmate. If you have a shield, that is. Once all shields are gone, you'll automatically die if you make a bad move. As for the shotgun, it fires at an arc and does more damage when up close. It's quite hard to keep piece moves in your head along with counting shells and reload times. I love the idea, but got my fill after a couple of hours, which was fulfilling enough. Turok 3 Shadow of Oblivion is an HD remaster, like Enclave, but one that I was more into. I never played this series at its height, but I have played remasters before, which I have covered on this channel. The game begins with you trying to escape an alien invasion in a populated city. You're armed at first with a melee weapon and a bow, but you'll get wilder weapons not long after, along with cool gadgets like a grappling device for traversal. Is it an amazing must-play remaster? No, but if you miss old school shooters where gameplay came first, then this is worth a look. And speaking of old school shooters, the last game on this list, thankfully, we got Warhammer 40,000 Boltgun. It is a throwback to 90s first-person shooters like Doom. Weapons are bizarre and lethal, the gore is pixelated but bloody beyond belief, and everything is sprite-based overall. There are even cheats if you want to make yourself feel like a god. In a seemingly never-ending wave of Warhammer games, Boltgun stands out and is a lot of fun. There's not much else to say as it is a simple, pure chaos shooter. It should at least keep you occupied until Space Marine 2 comes out next year, which I have been dying to play ever since it was announced. And that, ReActionExaminer fans, is exhaustively that for 2023. Thank you so much for watching throughout the year. A year, I will add, I was absent a lot of. Of course, thanks to the support of the developers and publishers I worked with this year as well. And with that, I bid you all a happy new year, and I will see you soon.